In this day and age, we, the video game consumer, have to put up with a fair amount of BS when it comes to actually enjoying our paid-for content. Not only do we have to weather the storm of pre-orders and season passes, but then we got the microtransactions, the loot boxes, and the slew of DLCs in every game on top of the original price entry points. In short, it's exhausting. But what really boils my piss is when you see developers trying to sneak mad things under our noses and then have the gall to try and charge money for them. With this in mind, I'm Jules from WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 insane things that video game developers charged money for. Number 8. Easy fatalities. Mortal Kombat 10. When you think of Mortal Kombat, you obviously think of two things. 1, that Cassie Cage is even more annoying than her dad, and 2, fatalities. The fatality is a staple part of the franchise, allowing you to destroy your opponents in absolutely disgusting ways. Mortal Kombat X dialed these scenes up to horrifying levels, but NetherRealm, the devs, also rounded up the dirty when they tried to charge for easy fatalities, basically replacing the combo you'd normally have to put in, and instead you just press a button. They claimed it was to help people see all there was to offer in the game, but in reality it was to cater for a crowd either too stupid or too lazy to learn the move inputs. If you can't remember a button combo in a fighting game, maybe you should try something else. Just saying. The best thing is that if you Google easy fatalities, then you stumble across multiple forums asking what the hell is the point of them and why anyone would buy it. And yet, you know what? Someone out there has, and I hope they feel guilty for it. Number 7. The $1 million package, Saints Row 4. Now, before you cry out that this is technically a pre-order, it was made very clear that anyone who chose to drop a cool, crisp £1 million on this copy of Saints Row 4 had to do so before the game was announced, meaning money would be changing hands for this quite ludicrous deal. For a cool bit of wallet lettuce, you would get a copy of the game, good start, plastic surgery of your choice, excellent, I always wanted boobs in my knees, a galactic space flight courtesy of Richard Branson, he can go to the moon in my opinion, and a super expensive sports car, sorry, I can't drive thanks to my boob knees. The best part is though, is that somebody actually calculated the worth of this package and it came in around $600,000, making it not only bloody mental, but also terrible value for money. Number 6. An extra save file, Metal Gear Survive. Oh, this is an absolute slice of low. To charge extra for a save space is bottom barrel money grubbing, and the worst thing is that we've grown accustomed to this sort of that Konami tries to pull, and it's an absolutely toilet tactic. I could barely stand to have one game going, but knowing that if another unfortunate soul wanted to try the worst thing Metal Gear has ever been associated with since its infamous Mountain Dew t-shirt and Peace Walker, then telling them it's gonna cost another few quid is like taking a Werther's original you found on the floor, offering it to someone else, then wiping it on your bell end before handing it over. Number 5. Randomized characters, Final Fantasy or the Bravest. I actually hate this game. I can feel my blood boiling even as it haunts the deepest recesses of my mind. This wasn't so much of a cash grab as much as it was an unadulterated fisting that not even your mum could take, and she's got a moon door you could park a bus in. There's my one per list. To call this a game for Final Fantasy fans is insulting, as was the microtransaction model on which it was based. In order to unlock new characters, you had to buy them. So far, so shady, but then the devs had the gall to make these unlocks randomized, so you might end up shelling out cash and end up with a party member you already had. And let's face it, there's much more stinkers in the combined Final Fantasy roster than winners, so getting 4 lightnings and 0 clouds was a new world of absolute strife. Puns, I've still got them. Number 4. Actual levels, Tales of Vesperia. If you're a fan of RPGs, then you've likely grown accustomed to certain things. Storylines that revolve around collecting X-Magic McGubbins in order to stop an evil force usually known as the Empire, protagonists with edgelord stylings, women with improbable busts, and everyone's favourite thing, grinding. It's par for the course to spend hours leveling up your chosen hero by beating up small fry. Hell, even some games reward you for it with special items and achievements. But then along comes Tales of Vesperia to ruin the curve. For the low, kind of insulting price of about £4, you can boost your boys by 10 levels instantly. You can't purchase this pack more than once because, come on, that's silly, but you can buy pack 2, which boosts it by another 10. What was the point of that? It gets worse when you you notice that the devs intentionally made their game give little EXP rewards from battles so that paying for levels almost becomes tempting. And by almost, I mean in the same way that your mum almost got a second date from yours truly after giving up her goods, aka she didn't. There's my second per list. Yeah, that's right. Game changing, I know. I'm just saying, if you want to play a game like this and want a time skip, you're in the wrong genre, pal. Come on. Number 3, true ending, ASURA'S Wrath. Now, despite me harshing on a lot of these games, I really enjoyed ASURA'S Wrath for the most part. It was so over-the-top, stylish and sleazy that it really won me over. Plus, I will always be partial to a game which allows you to use anger to solve any problem. However, what made me spit out my deconstructed full English served on a shovel is when the game's devs announced a slew of DLC, one of which was billed as the game's true ending. Now, many gamers, myself included, have been hoping for a sequel as the game teased one pretty bloody hard, but it was in fact simply done to lead to this DLC, which, while not being stupidly expensive, was stupid in its approach to treating its fan base. It was the first of its kind to pull such a stunt, but the backlash proved, quite rightly, that it should definitely be the last. Number 2, fighters already on the disc, Street Fighter X Tekken. In my opinion, DLC for games is, for the most part, fine. Devs take the money made on sales or projected sales and create more content to keep their fans happy. However, I have a real problem with companies working on DLC alongside the main title just so they can split it off and sell it shortly after release. Even worse is in the case of Street Fighter X Tekken, which hid a ton of characters on the disc and then charged to unlock them. The work had already been done. The fighters were complete and just needed a code to unlock them, so it pangs of greed. The devs said it was for ease of access, but to many it was a slap in the face that could have been avoided if it was just hidden better from the player. And number 1, paying to see nipples, the Saboteur. Way back before Mario got his baps out for the lads, nipples were causing waves within the gaming community. The display of sexual content in games is something that ratings boards and parents alike really don't want, even though they've seemed to be much more accepting of people blasting each other's heads into jam. Anyway, if you did want to get the most perv out of your pixels, then you could always chuck £3 on the Midnight Club DLC for the Saboteur, which removed the coverings on many of the burlesque dances and allowed you to oogle to your heart's content. It's so very weird that effectively this DLC is tits. Not the tits, just tits. And not even real ones. It's a very strange world we live in, isn't it?